Hi, guys. To get started on thinking about grammar and punctuation, I thought the best way to get started is to start thinking about English language in terms of the chunks that happen. They're phrases that occur in English as we speak and as we write. Paying attention to those chunks can be really helpful. So let me explain a little bit why. There's this article that explains, it's by Stafford and Webb, where they say when you're reading a sentence, you actually don't understand it word by word, but rather phrase by phrase. So they go on to explain that phrases are groups of words that can be bundled together, and they're related by the rules of grammar. These phrases are the building blocks of language, and we naturally chunk sentences into phrase blocks, just as we chunk visual images into objects. They go on to say that once a noun phrase is fully assembled, it can be packaged up and properly understood by the rest of the brain. During the time you're reading the sentence, however, the words sit in your verbal working memory, kind of a short-term buffer, until the phrase is finished. So basically, what they're saying is that our brains are accustomed to working with sentence chunks in order to understand meaning. So really, this is our first step in grammar, is to start being aware of how language is chunked up into chunks. And so there's a lot of different types of chunks, different types of phrases in English. This is actually not even a complete list of types of phrases, but that's what we're going to take a quick look at. So let's look at a sentence. We have this sentence: the black cat with the twitchy tail was carefully observing the crafty mouse with intensity. So there are different ways that you can chunk out this sentence. So the part in yellow, the black cat with the twitchy tail, all of those words create a phrase that is the subject of the sentence, the cat. Those are all the black, and then with a twitchy tail are both modifying cat. So this is a phrase, a noun phrase. The predicate or the verb, it's all the words that go together to create the verb of the sentence. So we have was carefully observing, and then notice that there's also some of this bluish color down here, because this part with intensity is modifying the verb, not the direct object, which is your second noun, and the crafty mouse. So this actually, the mouse is not with intensity. It's the verb, and it's how the cat is observing. So as I showed in that previous slide, we have two nouns in the sentence. One is the subject, one is the direct object. These phrases operate all as together as the noun phrase. The verb phrase, as I said before, this was carefully observing. So another thing that you can look at is the different types of adjectives that are used. Adjective phrases can be just one word. Like black is an adjective phrase. With a twitchy tail is a full phrase that also acts as an adjective because it's describing the cat. The crafty is an adjective phrase describing the mouse. Whoops, what did I do? You can also have an adverb phrase which modifies the verb in the sentence. So was carefully is modifying the way that the cat is observing. When we talk about adverbial phrases, they often end with ly, so carefully. But there are also some other types of adverbs. They are often describing when things happen in a sequence, maybe cause and effect, things like that. Another type of phrase is the prepositional phrase. Basically, this is just a group of words beginning with a preposition. And in this sentence, we have two prepositional phrases, with a twitchy tail and with intensity. Both of those are prepositional phrases that are used to modify different things. In this case, twitchy tail is modifying the cat, and with intensity is modifying the verb. Again, here's another list of prepositions. They often show where things are, how their relation to other items in the physical world. When you're using prepositional phrases in your writing, be careful to not overdo it. Let me go ahead and go back. Even here, with this question that I gave you, with a twitchy tail and with intensity, I think that's too many prepositional phrases in one sentence. But I did want to have a couple of different examples that I could show you. So this with intensity modifying the verb, with a twitchy tail modifies the cat. So you can see both of them in the same sentence, but in reality, I would probably remove with intensity. There's another type of phrase called an infinitive phrase. If you're taking any foreign languages like Spanish, you will probably have to learn some infinitives, which is the to blank of the verb, where we haven't modified it based on who's doing the thing. So one infinitive phrase here is the cat waits 2 pounds until the mouse lets its guard down. Here we have that's an infinitive phrase that is also a chunk of language that serves to be part of the verb. Another type of phrase is the present participle. This is an ing verb style verb. It's actually it's usually not our main verb in the sentence. So was carefully observing is still our verb in the sentence, but we still get some action here. And wiggling his butt. The black cat with the twitchy tail was carefully observing the crafty mouth with intensity. Wiggling his butt is not a complete verbal phrase, so it has to be connected to a full sentence. But that's a really good way to get some sentence variety into your papers, is to add a present participle or ing verb. There's another type of ing verb, which is called a gerund, and that's where instead of being used, in this case, to modify sort of the verb or add verbiage, here it's acting like a noun. So wiggling his butt is the cat's favorite hunting tactic. These can be kind of awkward, but they happen in English language a lot, and it happens more in speech than in writing. All right, so that's a really, really, really quick introduction to different types of phrases. It's incomplete, maybe a little awkward, and you may be saying, well, why does any of this matter? Well, I don't really think it matters to learn these phrases and what they mean, or like what the actual names are and definitions. That really doesn't matter. What you do need to know is how to manipulate these sentences, these chunks, so that you can have sentence variety and also be aware of how to punctuate. So the names don't matter, but being able to recognize how words group together into chunks, that's a really helpful skill. And that's all I've got for you today. Happy chunking, and I will see you later.